What if I told you that the universe isn't ignoring your love life, it's preparing you? Every heartbreak, lonely night, and test of patience is not punishment, but a refining process. Before the right person enters your life, the universe shapes rare souls teaching confidence, self-worth, and the psychological truths about attachment and human connection. If love has ever seemed to pass you by, this is the moment to understand why. The universe's work isn't cruel, it's precise. Those quiet, lonely nights are not just moments of despair. They are mirrors reflecting every wound, betrayal, and doubt you've carried. You may ask, why am I always left behind? Yet that whisper isn't self-pity, it's the universe stripping away illusions. Until you truly understand your value, you mistake scraps of affection for a feast of love. Toxic relationships, especially those marked by narcissistic dynamics, teach this lesson harshly. The trap isn't the other person, it's the emotional patterns that keep you chasing attention, craving the security of being chosen. Compromising your light and feminine energy to avoid abandonment only dims your radiance, and the universe allows this repetition until clarity emerges. The awakening comes not from someone else saving you, but from the painful inner work of relationship healing. Only when starved of real love do you recognize the difference between being tolerated and being cherished. True high-value worth isn't about social media ideals. It's psychological, profound, and non-negotiable. It demands that you stop bargaining away your soul for validation and instead reclaim your inherent value. Trauma recovery becomes transformation when you confront the mirror and ask, if I don't treat myself as worthy, why should anyone else? Imagine a locked door. The love you long for waits behind it, but no one else holds the key. Only your own confidence, self-worth, and unwavering sense of value will unlock it. Until you claim your key, disappointment repeats. Once you do, the universe opens the door and the right person sees not a desperate seeker, but someone already whole. Your energy shifts. Those who once dismissed you now feel uncomfortable because emotional safety is no longer negotiable. You begin to recognize manipulation, gaslighting, and love bombing for what they are. You have to be careful when you compliment people. You generally can't compliment people who are way above you in a status hierarchy, for example, because it's presumptuous. But peers, for sure. People you love, generally. Certainly people who are lower in the authority hierarchy than you. But if you can single out something they did, if you're alert to that and you start fostering that around you, people just start doing more and more of it. And then you're just surrounded by that all the time. And that's so, like, how would you want anything better than that? You have to be careful when you compliment people. You generally can't compliment people who are way above you in a status hierarchy, for example, because it's presumptuous. But peers, for sure. People you love, generally. Certainly people who are lower in the authority hierarchy than you. But if you can single out something they did, if you're alert to that and you start fostering that around you, people just start doing more and more of it. And then you're just surrounded by that all the time. And that's so, like, how would you want anything better than that? Nothing was said. That heaviness in your chest, that aching silence, reveals a powerful truth. Emotional bonding deepens when presence is withdrawn. What we take for granted slowly loses meaning, but absence magnifies everything. Longing isn't born from endless conversation, it forms in the quiet. Gaps where the mind begins to wonder, remember, and miss. Psychology works through contrast. Just as a sweet drink tastes bland when consumed daily, constant attention loses its value. When every hour is filled with just checking in, your presence becomes background noise. But when that presence disappears, the silence creates a vacuum, and the human mind instinctively moves to fill it. That space becomes the echo chamber where desire grows. A high-value woman knows this truth. Emotional safety isn't created by overgiving or constant availability. It comes from honoring your own worth and rhythm. An anxious man seeks you more when you step back, and an avoidant man misses you when you no longer pursue him. The vacuum triggers both. Yet for women shaped by narcissistic dynamics, stepping back feels terrifying. Trauma teaches you that closeness equals survival, so withdrawing feels like risking abandonment, but overgiving is what made others take you for granted. Like sunsets, diamonds, and rare moments, value comes from scarcity, not saturation. Your feminine energy is a tide, not a flood. If he never feels your absence, he never learns to crave your return. This isn't cruelty, manipulation, or emotional punishment. It's simply the way the human nervous system is designed. Longing grows in space, and space creates emotional presence. So the real question becomes, when was the last time you allowed someone the opportunity to miss you? When did you last trust the silence long enough to let him feel its weight? Because in that stillness, the psychology of desire awakens. A man who once assumed you were always within reach suddenly finds the ground trembling beneath him when you are not. But beneath that lies a deeper truth. If silence is so powerful, why are you afraid to create it? What fear inside you resists the very space that could restore your self-worth? Picture yourself walking into a crowded room. If your shoulders curl inward, your voice shrinks, and your eyes drop to the floor, your energy quietly announces, "I don't belong." People overlook you not because you lack beauty or intelligence, but because your presence whispers insecurity. Now imagine entering with slow composure, gentle confidence, and a quiet belief that your existence needs no validation. Heads turn without you saying a word. The shift wasn't your clothing or makeup, it was confidence. Confidence alters the air around you. It tells the world, "I am valuable," and people feel it before they understand it. This is the root of attraction, yet most misunderstand it. Many fall into narcissistic patterns, chasing validation instead of cultivating value. You text constantly, hoping his responses will fill the emptiness inside you. But the moment your worth hinges on another person's approval, you lose your power. Confidence breaks this cycle. It is not loud or arrogant, it is the calm alignment between your emotions, your beliefs, and your actions. It says, "I choose myself, even if you don't." Still, many women confuse performance with confidence. They post perfect pictures and scripted captions, but inside they are collapsing. Real confidence does not disguise pain. It rises from it. It comes from looking directly at your wounds, abandonment, betrayal, rejection, and still choosing to stand. A confident woman does not cling to prove her value. She communicates from joy, not fear. She does not panic when silence appears, because silence does not threaten her identity. This is why certain words, gestures, or moments become powerful only when backed by genuine self-worth. Without confidence, they fall flat. With confidence, they become magnetic. But desire is also shaped by attachment. Two people can experience the same silence, yet interpret it through entirely different emotional histories. The anxiously attached panic, fearing loss. The avoidantly attached retreat, fearing closeness. Yet both styles respond powerfully to space. The anxious moves toward you. The avoidant misses you in the relief of distance. Absence ignites longing for both. Still, the high-value woman never uses silence as a weapon. She creates space out of dignity, not resentment. Her absence is not punishment, it is self-respect. And in that respectful quiet, something profound happens. The man begins confronting his own psychology. Your presence once comforted him. Your absence now reveals his patterns. His mind replays moments of you. His heart sits in the space you created. And in that tension between desire and fear, his emotional growth begins. Your absence becomes a mirror, reflecting what he must face within himself. And that is where true longing and true healing are born. For many women, silence is terrifying. When trauma has shaped your nervous system, quiet moments feel like rejection. Stepping back feels like abandonment. And distance feels like the beginning of loss. So you keep filling every gap with words, reassurance, and constant presence, believing love survives through effort alone. But by doing this, you unintentionally take away the one experience that could awaken his desire, the chance to feel what life is like without your steady energy. You remove the psychological spark that transforms ordinary attachment into longing. The real test becomes this: can you sit in the silence without panicking? Can you trust that emotional safety comes not from managing his reactions, but from standing firm in your own worth. When you choose to create space, you are not only activating his attachment system, you are healing your own. You are proving to yourself that absence does not destroy you and that your identity is not dependent on constant validation. Yet beneath this lies a deeper tension. If longing grows through distance, how do you balance mystery with closeness without losing yourself to either extreme? The human mind hates unfinished stories. An unanswered question loops in our heads, like a melody that refuses to resolve. This is the psychology of curiosity, and it's one of the strongest drivers of attraction. Men don't obsess over the woman who reveals everything. They think about the woman who gives just enough to make them lean in. Curiosity isn't manipulation, it's biology. The brain fixates on the gaps it cannot close. This is why subtle pauses, open-ended messages, and gentle mystery linger in his mind long after the conversation ends. You don't have to chase. His curiosity does the chasing for you. But many women fear ambiguity, especially after narcissistic dynamics where silence felt unsafe. Trauma teaches you to overshare, to explain everything, to fill every pause so you don't feel invisible. Yet oversharing suffocates attraction. When there is no space left unexplored, desire has nowhere to grow. A high-value woman understands rhythm. She communicates in layers, not floods. She lets her words breathe. She knows that mystery is not withholding, it is pacing. Just like music, the pauses matter as much as the notes, and this requires trust. Trust in yourself. Trust that silence does not diminish your value. When you stop rushing to fill every moment and allow space for wonder, you shift from being a constant presence to becoming a meaningful one. That is where longing begins and where true emotional connection grows. Beneath the surface, a deeper wound drives many women to overtext, unresolved trauma. Silence feels unsafe, even threatening. You fear that if you stop texting, he'll forget you. If you don't explain yourself, he'll misunderstand. If you don't keep giving, he'll leave. These impulses have little to do with him. They come from old abandonment wounds that still shape your reactions. So you pour yourself into long messages, believing more words will create closeness. But paradoxically, the more you say, the less impact your words carry. Whisper a little, and you give him something to crave. This is why texting must be reframed as storytelling. Storytelling doesn't beg for attention, it invites it. It doesn't shout, "Please notice me." It gently says, "Come closer if you want to know more." Feminine energy thrives here, in the balance between warmth and mystery. Consider the difference between "I miss you so much, please call me," and "You crossed my mind." One overwhelms, the other lingers. One signals emotional dependence, the other signals quiet confidence. The second message plants a seed that grows long after the conversation ends. So ask yourself, are your messages creating a story he wants to follow? Or are they collapsing under the weight of old fears? Because the way you text reflects the relationship you have with yourself. Human desire follows the law of scarcity. What is overly available is overlooked. What is measured is valued. Desire grows through anticipation, not constant contact. Narcissistic dynamics often condition women to overgive, texting too much, explaining too much, because silence once meant danger. But in that flood, you erase your own mystery. He never has to reach for you when you are already overflowing into every moment. Measured presence creates contrast, and contrast awakens longing. Silence, when paired with dignity, not anger or punishment, is powerful. Each moment you resist texting from panic, you teach your nervous system that stillness is survivable. This is trauma healing in real time. Then something shifts. One evening, he reaches out with more intention, not because you chased, but because you finally stopped. In the space you allowed, curiosity awakened. His wonder became pursuit. And that pursuit is where true feminine and masculine energies reconnect, not through flooding, but through breath. So the real question is, are you brave enough to let silence speak for you? Think of presence like music. Pauses create meaning. A song without silence becomes noise. With rests, it becomes memorable. The same is true in relationships. Pausing before replying adds rhythm to emotional bonding, letting absence heighten presence. When he sends a casual message and you wait, his thoughts wander. By the time you answer, your words land heavier because scarcity created value. This isn't manipulation, but psychology. Restraint triggers interest. Delaying replies helps you more than him. Each pause detaches your worth from instant validation and trains you to choose from strength rather than compulsion. That practice is relationship healing. Choosing alignment over chasing reassurance. Yes, there's risk. He may misread silence as disinterest, but love that demands constant confirmation is dependency, not intimacy. Space tests whether he values you or the convenience of access. Power in silence isn't emptiness, but invitation. 5 simple words. I was just thinking of you, or you crossed my mind today, carry more magnetism than paragraphs of anxious explanation. Trauma conditions many to over-explain. High-value presence trusts mystery and precision. Short, intentional phrases ignite curiosity and longing because they open rather than close. Be careful. Using silence manipulatively turns it into control, not connection. Authentic restraint grows from self-respect, not games. Let your words reflect genuine energy, a calm declaration of your life and boundaries that invites, not demands. When you speak less and mean more, you reclaim sovereignty and attract healthier pursuit. Ask yourself before you text, am I needy or centered? If centered, 5 honest words can shift dynamics, pull them closer without pleading. Practice silence as a tool of healing and magnetism, and notice how confidence, not noise, becomes irresistible. Over time, this small discipline builds inner calm, reshapes attachment patterns, and teaches you to love from strength, quietly, confidently, and beautifully, without desperate explanations. And before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. What do you want me to explore? Next, more psychological dynamics, a deeper look at feminine energy and attachment styles, maybe practical steps to rebuild self-worth after heartbreak, or how to communicate with calm confidence instead of fear. Drop your ideas below. I genuinely read every comment, and your voice is what shapes the direction of this entire community. Now go ahead and send him those 5 words, but even more importantly, move through the world like a woman who knows she is already whole. That quiet certainty, that grounded power is what makes a man think about you long after the conversation ends. It's not the message that makes him miss you, it's the energy behind it. Before you go, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's keep building a space where self-worth, emotional wisdom, and feminine strength guide every choice we make. And until next time, remember this: the most magnetic message you will ever send is the one rooted in valuing yourself first.